Hi, I'm Natsumi with fitYOGAfiT. Today's video is Yoga for Hip Flexors, Part 2. Let's begin. Okay, open your leg about your hip distance or little slightly wider and pointing your toes 45-degree angle. And from here, palms together and sink down your hips. Take a Malasana Garland pose all the way down. If this is too challenging for you, you can stay like up here, but make sure to keep your tailbone down underneath your hip, underneath your head. Okay, don't drop your tailbone, sticking tailbone out. Hips straight down. Okay, so either this height or if you can go all the way down, try garland pose Malasana all the way down. And then make sure use your elbow, those who you are going down all the way down. Use elbow to press your knees out. And make sure don't concave your chest open. Shoulder blades engaged. And the sternum lifting up. And press your knees out. And stay there. Again, start shifting your breath from regular breathing to the Ujjayi Pranayama. Deeply inhale through the nose. Out through the nose. Steady your breath and steady your mind. Make sure don't tense up your shoulders. Shoulders always soften. Inhale, open. Exhale, sink down your tailbone. And now find your way to come to seated pose. Take your time. Slowly. And wide open seated pose, right? And then I want you to bend one knee. So let's say I'm doing mirror image, my right, your left. Okay, so bend your left knee. And then I want you to concentrate on this hip flexor. Those muscles to turn inward rotation. And then as a byproduct, because of this part, hip flexor muscles rotating in, as a byproduct, your navel turn to your right, okay? Right, and your shoulder also rotate to your right. Okay, so always concentrate on we are right now addressing this part. Iliacus, hip flexors, iliacus psoas, sartorius, rectus femoris, right? Rotating in and inhale, exhale, rotating in. Inward rotation. So feel free to a little bit bend this knee if it's too much pressure on your knee. Okay, now opposite rotation. So now think about this hip flexor muscle rotate outward, outward rotation. Therefore, because of this part rotating outward, your belly button follow and chest follow. So maybe gaze now opposite side. So imagine this pectineus muscle rotating out. Try to face toward the ceiling. And if you also pay attention to this part of pectineus, it's not down. It's kind of open, right? So knee is not collapsing. Knee also kind of pointing toward the ceiling, opening. So everything like stretch out, lengthen. So not shortening. So opening and long. Good. Now relax. Let's do the opposite side. So opposite knee, bend. Let's try inward rotation now, this part. This hip flexor, rotating inward. So pectineus rotating inward. So my belly button follow and chest also shoulders open to your left. And stay there, breathe. And if you notice any kind of tension, use your breath to release. So don't hold tension on the shoulder neither. Exhale, relax, let it go. And then again, if it's too much on your knee, feel free to bend your knees a little bit. So because of our sedentary lifestyle, the hip flexor gets short because of a lot of sitting, gets short and tight. So we have to open up, unlock the tension we are holding around this area. And now inhale, exhale, back to straight center. Now remember, outward rotation. So because of this part, hip flexor rotating outward, so my belly button follow this way, now turn this way, my chest, sternum face that way, this way. And I try not to collapse my knee like this. So pointing my toes and knee toward the sky so that I also can work on opening of inner thigh, growing muscle, pectineus. And again, if it's too much on the knee, feel free to a little bit slightly keep this knee bent. And then don't hold your breath. Always use your breath, breathing to release any tension. And inhale to lengthen. And exhale to go a little bit deeper on the pose. And also, always think about your posture. Yes? Even though right now we are working on hip flexor muscles, always it's better to keep your spine straight, neck straight, and chest open. And now back to center. Okay, now, both knees straight. Okay, now, right now, I want to rock your hips forward and backward by using either you can keep your hands forward this way. Make sure not so much your toes or knees. Here, root, hip flexors, beginning of your thigh. This part has to be more to increase mobility, right? So rock your hips forward, rock your hips backward. So gently, doesn't have to be big movement, like a subtle, small movement. So really I'm focusing on my hip flexor, iliacus and those muscles to move. Also you can think about your tailbone kind of moving this way, or shifting your weight around your sitting bone. So really, really small movement, but it's really effective. You start feeling a little bit muscle burning sensation because you're working on those dormant muscle in your daily life to be active, to activate it, right? So it's kind of surprising to your muscle. So you might feel a little bit good soreness. So activate, awaken this area. Okay, now after a few times, so stay open. So knee, toes. Again, if you too much for your knee, feel free to keep your knee slightly bent. Okay, knee, toes facing up toward the ceiling, and keep this angle, and I'm gonna slowly walk my hands forward without collapsing my knee. Okay, keep your knees integrity of this shape, this as alignment. I'm gonna slowly walk my chest, hands forward. Maybe you cannot go so deep. If you want, you can rest your elbow on the floor, or maybe if you have a yoga block, you can rest on your yoga block or pillow. Any kind of pillow. I try to keep my knees, toes pointing up toward the sky, and breathe. So you might start shaking this hip flexor because we are really activating these muscles. And I'm trying to keep my back straight, spine straight. And always breathe. And slowly up. Okay, now I want you to point your toes this way. And this time, don't worry, you can rotate your knees down. Okay, just simply does forward fold. If you need a little bit fidget around to find a comfortable spot, use exhale to go deeper. And if you notice any tension, exhale to release. And let it go and surrender. And slowly use your hands up and keep your knees together and a little bit bounce and shake to release. Because we really used hip flexor muscles, so release. And maybe shake sideways. And just turn your feet around. Okay, now let's find your way to come to laying down position on your back. The heel, close your hips and then open your knee about your hip distance. And don't stick out your knees out. Keep your knees straight, parallel. And from here, let's do bridge pose. Inhale. And exhale, slowly bring your hips up as high as you can. And just interlace your hands under, shoulders in, and shoulder blades together, chest, sternum lifting up. Again, we are really addressing hip flexor muscle here, front of your body, front of your thigh, and the inside to really stretch out to keep your hip flexor healthy and stretch. Between 5 to 8 deep pranayama. And slowly bring your hips down. And stretch your arms, legs out. Take final pose of Shavasana. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Unlocking the hip flexors will improve your mobility and overall athletic performance. I recommend you include this sequence to your workout routine. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel and select the bell option to get notified of my future videos. See you soon!